And we are
Okay, that's cool.
live. We are live, everybody. Welcome to a brand new thing that we're doing, Crush This Live. We've done it a few times before. We are on Facebook and YouTube. So, share it, like it, whatever. I'm going to quickly share it myself, just so everybody knows we got 2 viewers. So share and like it, guys. We are on, like I said, Facebook, YouTube, everything. So I'm going to be sharing it right now. Sharing it. Scott Jordan's watching. How's it going, Scott? So, for this episode, we have a very special guest. We'll might as well introduce him now. It's actually 2 guests, so we got a 2-for-1 deal here. So, first, our guests, we have number 1, Jeff Sin, the crew chief for this man, Coty Saucier, who is the driver of the Monster Energy Monster Jam truck. So, let's bring him in here. Alrighty, guys. How's it going?
What's up? Hey, pretty good. It's sun setting down here in beautiful Florida, and yeah, we're all healthy.
How about yourself, Jeff?
Yeah.
Doing good, man. Just enjoying this time with the family and stuff, and ready to go back. Turn the wrenches for Coty, and we have some unfinished business that we need to take care of. So I'm ready to get that done.
Nice. Speaking about that this season, heard a lot of good things happen to you guys this season, and you guys were, I believe, fighting for the top spot for the stadium tour, correct?
Yeah, we had the points lead the first 4 or 5 weeks, and then we just started to have some hiccups. I hit the building twice, so therefore it was a points deductions, and I think that's where it all started for ourselves. Was kind of my own fault, but you can't lift, and it was worth more gaining the points to get the 5-point deduction versus not even going to the final round at all. So I had to do what I had to do, and unfortunately there was a few hiccups in the way, and then Arlington, we blew the motor up, and man, it feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah, it does.
And in all reality, we would just be finishing the season this past weekend.
Yeah, it was a rough one. Arlington, we were coming in and we were loaded. We were ready to come back on top of the points, and then Coty went out and was fast, like he always is. And come around, he was leading, coming in the first turn, and the Richard Midget just wasn't happy. So it let go, but I did whatever I had to do. Like I said, I never give up on this guy, and we got the engine changed, and you made it up for freestyle. So like in an hour and 30 minutes, with the help of a few of the guys in the back, we got the engine changed, and Coty went out there and laid down a freestyle that was pretty awesome. And the time that he was out there was pretty awesome.
So let's talk about, the relationship between the driver and the crew chief, because it's very important. Jeff, you're the one that's, strictly maintaining the truck, making sure everything's tight and right on it. And Coty, you're the one, you're trusting him in that. What's the relationship that you guys have been able to build between yourselves, being driver and crew chief?
Oh, for sure. Well, not only do we work together, and I'm the driver, he's the crew chief, but we're family. His sister said yes to me 2 years ago, so now he's stuck with me for good. And but no, it works great. I wouldn't want anybody else in my ear and on the wrenches behind the scenes. Regardless of who he was, and in the family, but he works his ass off. I work my ass off, and we don't let, how do you say it? We don't like things given to us. Or how's the old saying, the old Charlie Daniels song? I don't take anything if it's going to be given to me or whatever. So that's our motto, and that's what we go with.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like what he said, man. I wouldn't. Back in 2008, Coty and I, when I went to work with Randy Brown on a truck, and he was on War Wizard, and we became friends. And we always joked around about that if he ever became a driver, that I was going to quit whatever I did, wherever I was at. I was going to quit what I was doing. I was going to come turn wrenches, because we both got the drive that we want to win and be the best that we can be. Not only for all the sponsors, but mainly for all the fans. And Coty gave me that. I fed off of him, and he feeds off of me. So when the time came that he got behind the wheel of a truck, and it was a full-time locked-in deal, I quit what I was doing and went and started turning wrenches. And then, like I said, I want to give him the best piece of equipment that he's got so he can go out and do what he does best, and that's wheel that trucker on the track better than probably 95, 98% of the people out there.
And do you think it edges out, helps you guys out too, being together for such a long time? Because you notice through the company that one guy could be on a truck for 1 year and they think they're going to be on that same truck the next year. Instead, they're going to another truck that with another driver. So when you guys do the season together, and Jeff, you're wrenching and everything like that, do you think you guys have a little bit of an edge going into the season, knowing what's going on?
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's nice to be able to know, because Coty and I got such a relationship that he can. I'm very fortunate that, being as good as he is at being a crew chief and working on as many trucks he did for as many years, when there is a little bit of a hiccup on the truck or there's something that he doesn't like, he can tell me what it is, and I can fix that truck and give him the best truck that he can, to do what he does. And it definitely helps a lot, because he can come off and he might be feeling something in the truck and I see something different, and we can work together to figure out what might be happening. Like with the new truck, he liked old number 67. I loved her too, but we got this new truck and I was like, man, it's got a bunch of new stuff on it. And he was kind of, I wish I had the old truck back. But, once he started coming with the info that he had from behind the seat and on his butt and what I was seeing, we worked together and we got this truck, and old C-120's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad unit.
So one question that I have is, going from, the triple threat style tour to a stadium tour, it's two complete driving styles. Do you have to have two separate mentalities coming into that? Or do you have just your one set, I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can and destroy the competition? Or is it like I have to kind of conserve it in this style? Or like what's the mentality between the two different, layouts?
Yeah, there's kind of two different ways of looking at it, but I've always been so hard on myself. Always wanted to excel, and especially with the name that's on the side of the truck. I got big shoes to fill with just how we brought the name of the truck into the industry. When Damon and I first started, you had Damon in it, and he was already an awesome driver. So when number 2 got built and it was me, I was like, well, God damn, I'm the freaking rookie here, and I got to do all this. So the arena tours certainly teach you how to drive a monster truck. There's so much going on in such a tight amount of space, and you get so much drive time in that as well, because not only is it a single show like most of the stadium shows, it's sometimes upwards of 6 shows a weekend, and that's probably close to an hour of drive time for that weekend. So it's something to learn from on the arena tours for sure. So then you go change gears a little bit and you go into a stadium atmosphere. It's the pressure is off a little bit as far as staying off the walls, even though I didn't prove that this year. But the pressure's not there in that regard. It's let's stretch the legs a little bit, see what the equipment can do, and try to variate yourself from what everybody else is already doing out there.
And for you, Jeff, that same thing with a crew chief position. Is your mentality going from the arenas and stadiums different for you also?
Yeah, definitely. The arenas, we have a lot of work and stuff. Not so much truck setup as in the stadium stuff. A little bit between racing and then two-wheel and all that stuff. But mainly is like the workload. The arena tours, you like Coty said, you run some weekends, you're running 5-6 shows a weekend, and you're working your ass off. You're tearing trucks apart, putting new stuff in, which on my end helps me become a better technician. I can, as much as I'm doing it, I'm getting more familiar, and I can get faster and faster and faster with changing engines, changing third members, changing transmissions. So then when it does come down to, repairing a body in a quick hurry, anything, man. I mean, on the arena tours, you get throwing so many wild curveballs that you don't in a stadium. And it's from a crew chief to watch, like Coty driving there, the way that he can hone his skills in so much that watching him go onto a stadium, that he can take them skills, and then when he gets able to open the truck up, and we can actually set the truck up for a stadium, I think that's one reason that we can come out and we dominate a lot and do very, very well, is because we hone our skills so tight on the arena tour, and we have so much time to, that when it comes to a stadium, we can take them skill sets and open it up more and let it go.
So one question that I had, with you, Coty, is you come from a crew chief background. You were crew chief with Damon Bradshaw for many amount of years. Did that help you transition easier as a driver to know kind of like how the truck works inside and out?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've always preached that for the longest time. Who's great to look at for that is Andy Brass. Look how long that guy crewed for. Didn't even want to drive, and then was one of the best drivers in the industry. And then, he went away at his peak. Maybe with this whole virus thing, I'm going away at my peak. I certainly hope that's not the case. But, I look up to guys like Andy and Gene Patterson and the guys that I wrenched and then were brought into the seat. Carl Van Horn was the same way. Adam and Ryan, Zimmer, Paul Cohen, all those guys, man, they're such great wrenchmen as well as great wheelmen, because they know what the trucks are capable of. They know how to set them up, what they're not capable of. And that's just the gearheads in us, I guess.
Now, and also when you were mentioning about that, both of you guys actually are probably one of the only teams that get to have legendary monster truck people helping you guys out, like having Gene Patterson and also Mike Wine. I mean, how cool is that they're willing to take their time to help you guys out, where they could be helping someone else out, instead they pick you guys?
Oh yeah, both those guys, man, they can. They probably could still teach us a thing or two when they really wanted to. I know Mike certainly can, and he certainly has, and I owe a lot of credit to that guy, as well as Bill Easterly Jr. for showing me the ropes at a young age in the industry. And those guys, Gene, Mike, John Seasock, all those guys, they paved the road for us that are in the industry now, for certain.
So we gotta. You can go ahead.
Definitely. I was gonna say, definitely having Gene and Mike, it's pretty amazing to see those guys, and as much respect as I got for them guys. I've known them guys a long time, and to have Gene there, and he's whispering in my ear to tell Coty something, and I'm like, so I tell Coty, and all of a sudden he tells me, he's like, hey, you need to go just check this out. And it's something that I happen to overlook, because we're only human, we overlook something. And just having that guy with as many years as he has, picked up on something. Mike did the same thing, picked up on a couple of things that I had overlooked, that I was looking at the bigger picture when I should have honed down to the littler picture. And then it also helped, just whispering in my ear, to whisper at Coty to try something or that maybe Coty didn't pick up on, and Coty tried it and would picked up time, and we both benefit a lot from having all them guys around, and very fortunate to be able to call them friends. To me, that means more than anything, is to be able to call them guys really true friends.
We've had Mike on the podcast a couple of times, and some of the stories that he has told us is legendary. Like, he told us a story about how he, got hooked up with the Blue Thunder team and Tony Farrell at the time, and it's just incredible the knowledge that guy has. But we have a couple of questions here on Facebook. One is right here from Jeremy Bunting. He asks, do you like having the same track layout week in and week out? Does it become an advantage knowing what it's going to be, or does it get repetitive?
That's a good question. Jeremy Bunting, he's out on the West Coast. All right, I'll be totally honest, because it's all about honesty right now. So truthfully, I wasn't even looking forward to the track we got dealt with at the start of the year. I felt like Monster Jam threw us kind of the leftovers as far as what they had and ideas for freestyle and a racing track. But then the first weekend out there in San Diego, it was, and I didn't get to run any other race courses, obviously, but I would put it against any other race courses that it was probably the fastest race course. And it was, it proved a few times because we put too much gear in it in a few places and I couldn't get slowed down. And I know Camden was the same way, and Tom and Charlie, they were the fast guys. So it grew on me really fast, and I started to really enjoy it. And same goes with freestyle. The step up was so cool, and I loved that thing. Half the time, I'd freaking forget about the thing and get lost out there and upset myself, and I was never satisfied with my own freestyle performance. But that's how it goes. I wish we could have finished out the season, obviously, because I know I had a lot left in the bag. We had a brand new motor to work with. After the Arlington deal, when I got sat out for Anaheim of all places, I was hungry, and I know this guy was hungry too. So we had plenty of events left to reel in the points again. Yeah, I know Charlie was up there, Tom was up there, but all they had to do was make one mistake, and we just needed to capitalize.
Going along with that, the tracks, I was kind of like him. I'm like, man, the track ain't really. It went to his driving style because it was going to be a fast track where you could flick it in there and you had to stay on it. You had to commit, and you had to stay committed. If you backed out of it any little bit, the truck was going to hike up. So it helped me for setting the truck up. I'd set it up so we could do what we were doing, and he could drive the wheels off the thing. You guys watch his videos coming around. Nothing made me happier than to see that truck come around the corner and him have it flat-footed and have that left front wheel hanging about a foot off the ground. And then you know that truck was flying. And going up the face of the jump, he never ever had to lift, never had to do nothing. And just to see the speed, and then as Camden started to get faster, that was one of the guys that I had on my sights for this year. I was like, I want to get them two guys lined up as much as we can. Chucky the same way. I want to get them guys lined up because they're going to push Coty as hard as they can. And I know Cody's going to push them. It was pretty awesome the first weekend out that we got to see Coty and Charlie line up together. Was pretty awesome. It's something, that I've been around Charlie for a long time and Coty a long time. And to see, two guys that have a ton of respect for each other line up and go head to head, it was pretty awesome. And the awesome part about it was that on theirs, they lined up and they were looking at each other. So they're sitting there dead-eyeing, looking at each other, and having the staging wars, which we had to stop that because they were saying we were taking too much time.
You get a points deduction if you take too long. God forbid you have a little friendly rivalry or anything and try to edge out one another. Nope, they put it to that.
Yeah, but it was awesome to just watch them two stage up. And I'll never forget Coty and John Gordon. Those guys, because they're two racers, two motorheads, and them to watch them two, and they line up and stage up. It's like they pull forward, back up, pull forward, back up, sit there and stage up, and just sit there and stage and stage and stage.
When we raced in Vegas at the All-Star for the crazy figure eight track or whatever, I think he and I sat there for almost 45-something seconds.
Yeah.
The officials were getting downright pissed at us, saying, "Is something wrong? We need to go." I was like, I ain't moving until he moves.
And I'm sitting there in the background being like, wanting to tell him, like, hey, dude, the transmission is probably at, like, you're fixing a meltdown. Just stage, do whatever you got to do.
Making power at that point. Keep going, building heat. And I know John's watching. If he is watching, I can't wait to do it again.
So that reminds me of one of my favorite NHRA races, which is the Slick 50 Nationals 1994 final round between it was Scott Jeffrey versus Warren Johnson. And there's one iconic quote from Warren Johnson. He says, "I don't have to stage first or last. I'll stage when I want to."
Yep. Well, Warren Johnson, he's an honorary old race car driver.
I thought it was a pretty cool time. Well, when I'm with the Hall brothers, but I think we only did like one show together over in Des Moines, Iowa, I think.
Des Moines.
Yeah,
I know exactly which race.
Des Moines, yeah. Oh yeah, about I think it was you and Matt Dishman, I think, and and you guys lost the line. Well, Matt kind of popped the wheelie, and he didn't know where he was going, but I think he was trying to come back. But I think one of you guys were yelling on the microphone, saying, "Did you see that?" And it was just an accident, but it was. Oh, we had a good time with you guys in general, so it was always fun.
Yeah, I remember that race.
I don't know who said that.
I remember Tim congratulating me after that race was over, and you done something and made a big impact when you get a congratulations from Tim Hall. And me and Matt had a little staging duel going on, and I got a smile out of Tim out of that. It's like, man, I thought Monster Jam lost rivalry, lost competitiveness. It's like, no, there's a few of us that still got it. So it was really cool to get some appreciation like that from your guys' program.
I'll tell you, that was one of the
Yeah.
things that we lined up.
Yeah.
We lined up, and that was one of the ones that I was scared to line up with, because when that big Hemis would fire up and go to the line, it would come down, and it was like, come up there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, like, come on, I just want to win this round, like, we just got to win this round. And then when they took off and that thing pulled the wheels off the ground, I was like, oh my god. I'm like, oh Jesus. I'm like, man, oh boy.
Hey, Brad, hold on one second. I was gonna ask another question about the motor situation also. You guys obviously are into now the EFI system. And you guys are, I believe, were like one of the first ones to be dealt with that package. Now with Jeff, you want first off, was you guys going from the traditional, alcohol motor to the EFI system? Did that change your whole game plan on the motor side of the team? Because you guys are one of the few teams that both of you guys can keep basically touch the engine and stuff like that. Because I know Mr. Midget's very particular with that game plan.
Yeah, the EFI was definitely very tricky. We can't tune it like we used to tune the old hot rods. They kind of wanted us to not tune them as much as like we used to, because we were getting them. Some of us guys were tuning them. We were motorheads. Like, I wanted to win. I want to turn that thing as hard as we can. I want to give them all the power I can. So it helped going to EFI. It helped out some with the more eco-friendly. The throttle response is a little bit better. We didn't have to tune them as much going to all these different altitudes that we have to. That's one thing that helped us out a ton. Being in the arenas, we're not having to shut down like we used to have to because of the CO levels and stuff. But it definitely, the way I could tune an engine compared to with the EFI, we were kind of, our hands were tied. We weren't supposed to do nothing with the EFI. With tuning or something, I'm not really.
We don't even know how to tune.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do it. So
I don't know how to write maps and all that on a laptop. And I'm no Kai Kelly. I don't know how he does it, but
no. And with him, I'd try to do what I could with what I was given, and it was definitely frustrating sometimes, because he'd be like, I need more power. When we were out west, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't give you power like I used to, bud. I can't just put some pill to it and take a couple flats out of it and make it run. We're just gonna have to deal with what we got. I think it was El Paso, because everybody was having that problem.
Yeah.
The only ones that didn't was, of course, John Gordon, Ryan Disroon.
Yeah, the guys with big nasty motors and
yeah,
real short, snappy converters. So
yeah,
we don't have that.
Yeah, no. So all these guys already got nasty, and now we're trying to have to run with them. And now ours are lazy because of where we're at, and now they're even tuning theirs even nastier. So it was Coty had his work cut out for him, that's for sure, on them weekends. But all in all, I think it is a step in the right direction. I think if they let us tune a little bit and start to teaching us a little bit more about the EFI.
So we have a question here on Facebook from Aaron Frederick. His question is, what was going through your head when you won the Young Guns shootout and then almost won the World Finals? Were you calm or shaking in your race suit from adrenaline?
Man, that's good memories. I was determined to win that thing. I was determined to win it the first year when I went into the final round against Mikey Vaughters. I think I set fast time there for the Young Guns qualifying session. I set the fastest time both years that I participated in it. So I was determined, man. I wanted to win that thing. For how long I've been going to Vegas, as a kid, up through a tech official, then part-time crew to full-time crew chief, and then a driver of a household name truck. It was something I had to prove to myself that I could do, and we ended up doing it. I didn't get it the first year because I didn't have a Jeff. But we did have a good friend of mine, John Fitchett. He was in my ear and on the wrenches that year, and he did a hell of a job. So, yeah, it was when I was parked up there on top when I won Young Guns, I felt like even that night, I felt like I made so many passes, I didn't even realize what was going on. And I truly feel like I'm one of the very few that have made probably the most passes in Vegas ever, next to guys like obviously Mintz, even Jim Coulter that have participated in every World Finals. But I think I've made myself in the rounds a whole bunch of times. And it's something I'm very, very proud of, and very proud to have done it with one and only truck. And the guys at Monster Energy for giving me such incredible opportunity. And I'm sure nobody there is listening, but I got to say it anyway, because without them, I wouldn't be who I am.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. How about you, Jeff? I remember doing the show with you guys, and you were amped up. You were like running around like a chicken's head cut off, but you were just amped.
Yeah, I get pretty wound up, man. I'm not gonna lie, I get pretty wound up. Especially we came in there, and that was one thing when Coty came back. I wasn't crewing for him the first year, and when he came back from Vegas, I could tell the disappointment in him. And when I went to work, I was dead set that we weren't gonna drop the ball. We were gonna be the baddest team together. I wanted, when people line up against us, I want to be like, oh man, this sucks. Like what they used to do with Dale Earnhardt, John Force, all them guys. When they line up with him, it's like, man, this sucks. we're gonna have our work cut out. And when we come into Vegas, it was dead set. I kept watching the track, and thankfully that all my four-wheeler racing and stuff, I can look at the dirt and kind of see how it's going to react a little bit. And I feel that helped me. And then setting the truck up with the sway bars and all that from my four-wheeler racing stuff, that I think it helped me give him the truck that he could drive the wheels off of and not have any problems with. It was definitely a lot of craziness that year, because it was like I felt like 100 pounds of weight was thrown on our chest, that we had a bullet on our back. And that was Colt Stevens he was bad fast. That dude is bad fast.
He's so fast, he'd burn all the brakes off of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that them guys on that team, they weren't, because of Coty being in Vegas for so long and me going there a few times with other teams and stuff, I picked up on a lot of stuff. And I listened, even though I don't act like it, but I listen a lot. And my biggest thing was keeping them brakes cold. I was happy I could get Cody's brakes down to about 95 degrees every round that he went out. So I knew that he was going to have full brakes, that he could stand on them as hard as he wanted when he needed them, so he could drive that truck into that corner harder than anybody else. And I just kept telling him, I said, your brakes are cold, your brakes are cold. And I'll tell you, he'll say that he was scared up there, dude. But when I do talk to him on the microphone, talk to me on the thing, he sounded cold, cool, collected. Dude, cold as ice, dude. It was pretty crazy, because I'm all amped up and I hear him talk. So he kind of brought me down to like, okay, I need to calm down just a little bit, because I'm all wound up and he's just all cool. And when he won Young Guns, I was all excited. I was super pumped. But my first thing was, now I got to get the truck ready for the big show, because you know what? We won Young Guns. Now it's time that we're going to go prove a point that this wasn't a fluke, that we're going to come in and we are going to be one of the baddest trucks in Las Vegas at the World Finals every time we compete.
So one question that I wanted to ask, this is, something that I'm very passionate about, is 90s monster truck racing, the Penda series, something that, I grew up watching. Coty, what is your favorite era of monster trucks? Like, is it the 80s, 90s Penda stuff? What's your favorite era?
Oh man, Tough question, man. No, respectable though. It's they all had their ups and their downs. You know, the '80s were a different truck than the '90s were. You know, stage 1 and then stage 4 truck, whatever, stage 3, whatever they were. But it's a toss up between the '80s and the '90s. But if I had to pick one, man, it would probably be the very last season of Penda, that '96 season. Those trucks, man, were fast. The Bigfoot trucks were so fast. Schaefer was fast. Dan Patrick was fast. It was awesome to the gearhead watching and competing, but just there was no demographic. You know, the kids were all about monster trucks. They always have been, but that's why it died. Personally, why I think it died. There was no attraction to the most of the audience that watched. So unfortunately, it died, and maybe it'll come back one day, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, mine is always the Penna days. I like that too, and maybe John Seasock's been blowing up our chat here too. So he said, "What's up to you guys?"
Who is that? Who'd you say?
John Seasock.
Oh yeah. Oh man, he and I, we spent a lot of long nights together riding up and down the road in the rig, and we used to listen to our favorite music, obviously going down the road. And John plays drums, so he'd always, if you heard a song that he liked, if Rush ever came on,
Yes.
my left bicep was his hi-hat cymbal. Thanks a lot.
Oh my, yes. Oh my God.
A lot of people don't know that you were the crew chief for John for those back-to-back seasons too there, Coty.
Yeah, 2007 and 2008. Again, that was when I was with Bill Easterly Jr. and I had a lot to learn then. And most of the credit goes to Bill and John themselves, because John's obviously been doing it for so long. He knows the ins and outs of the trucks, and he certainly knows how to drive. Still does, if you ask me. But I was just there to do the work, so I can't take full credit for it by any means. But that was some fun times, man. We were traveling up and down the road in the rig. We were out in Vegas, 06, 07, 08, even 09. We were out there for like 4 weeks at a time, prepping the trucks from, kingpin races coming out all the way to oil pans coming out of the truck and back together again in 3 weeks time. And now everything's so go, go, go. It's hard to get that. It almost doesn't have that prestigious feeling anymore sometimes, but Jeff and I still have our hearts in it, and we're ready to get back out there.
I just want to put this in. If you're a drummer and Tom Sawyer comes on, you cannot air drum. Like it's a must. I just did that.
He expects you to.
Well, I was at my parents' a few days ago. Tom Sawyer comes on my dad's radio, and I go hard. Like especially if it's Rush. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, yes sir.
So John mentioned about Punch Buggy.
Oh yeah, so obviously everybody knows the old game of you see a car with a headlight out or whatever, you say punch bug, or if you're from Louisiana you say padinka. I don't know, my sister is to blame for that, but John always would say do punch bug, and of course I was the punching bag because I was young and dumb at the time, and yeah, my arms still hurt from that as well.
We have another question here from Alexander Parrish. His question is, you're one of, if not the first to innovate purposely stopping on the nose during a stoppie and putting in reverse. Are there any more moves that you nor anyone else has done that you want to pull off?
Oh, good question. These are all really good questions. These are diehards. Well, I guess I'll start the stoppie thing, man. It was intentional. That's clear. But I got the idea from seeing Tom Mintz do it unintentionally, because he only had front brakes in the Georgia Dome one particular year. And his trucks rebounds. Everybody's always made fun of how his trucks rebounds all the time. Well, back then it was even worse. And it seems like the back end would always try to pass the front end up, even just going over the race lane. And it was a final round, and he was hauling the mail. And, of course, had that bad bounce that he always does. And he was running out of room to get stopped. And he did probably a 60-yard stoppie, a manual, whatever you want to call them, right into the edge of the dumpster and put it down and set it down. I thought, maybe there is something there. Then Craig Christensen, a few years later, did it in Lafayette, my hometown, at the Cajun Dome in his Max D truck, unintentionally. So I thought, man, there's something there to work with. And that first year of the arena tour, triple threat tour, it came to fruition and it worked. And people lost their minds over me just standing on the brake.
But I know you did some cool moves learning from Gary Porter. I don't know what you call it, but I mean, you're doing the wheelie, but the truck doesn't leave the ground. Like you have the whole back end of the truck kind of like, from the ramp itself walking over. I know you learned a couple of that stuff from Gary Porter, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure. Gary was, he had some finesse. They call him Mr. Consistency. He was so consistent at everything he did, especially the wheel stands. But I don't know, it never was exciting to the crowd because I could lay him down just like he could and get a crap score for it. So I don't know what was up with that. Apparently the fans and the judges, they don't know skill, man. Come on now. So, but to answer the Alexander's other question about coming up with other moves, man, the talent is starting to pass up the equipment nowadays. Guys are coming up with things to do. Like, look at Tyler. I don't think that kid, there's nothing he can't do in the truck. And it's kind of aggravating me. I want to prove him wrong and I want to outdo him, but it's guys like him that are going to keep pushing the envelope and keep bringing monster trucks, the monster truck industry, to the next level.
Another question here from Nathan Smith. He says, Coty, what's your opinion on the best trick competition from the All-Star Challenge? And which do you like better, two-wheel skills or best trick?
Oh, best trick? Oh, God. Yeah, here we go. Best trick should be something that's truly skillful and not just going out there and anybody can put their right foot down and aim at a ramp and hope for the best. I truly feel that, if you're going to do such a thing, then there's got to be some sort of finesse to it or even, man, I don't know. If you're going to say beforehand what the trick is going to be, so they show this, video demonstration what it is, it needs to be exactly that. I prefer, man, the two-wheel skills. I think that's pretty cool to get these trucks to do some crazy stuff on two wheels, wherever that may be, on the nose, on the tail, on the sidewalls, whatever. I think it's a little bit more challenging.
Your move this year, where
So-
were we at? That move this year where you did the slap wheelie into the stoppie.
Yeah, the slap wheelie into the moonwalk stoppie thing. That was something that, as soon as it happened, I was like, Chucky's going to be so proud of me for doing this, because it had his name written all over it. It was something that I just pictured him doing. And I had been eyeing that little start wheelie bump, or whatever you want to call it, for our start of the race course. I'm like, man, the slap wheelie bump's right in line with that. If I could just time it just right. And it's so hard to think about outside the moment. But when you're in the moment, man, I felt like I knew exactly what to do and how to be lined up for it. And it worked.
So a little bit, let's take from the two-wheel skills and wheelie questions. Jeff, let the fans know a little bit about you, because a lot of people don't know that you have a pretty good history in monster trucks. You also did a lot of quad war racing also.
Yeah, I'm with Coty on the whole two-wheel and best trick. I agree with him. If you're gonna say what you're gonna do that. I feel Tom got robbed this year. I mean, I'll be the one to say it, because Tom did exactly what he said he was gonna do for a best trick. He came out and did it. There were a lot of good attempts, but I like the two-wheel. It's pretty cool to be involved in it for so long, and that I think Coty doing the stoppie and starting that, and then him and Ryan doing the moonwalks and all this stuff, and then the coming onto the bicycles and all that they were the innovators of the two-wheel competition. The two-wheel used to be wheelie competition, and then they started doing stoppies and all these tricks, and they thought it was awesome. So, I think that Coty and Ryan were the two guys that brought it from doing a wheelie competition to two-wheel competition. I think that's pretty awesome. That he doesn't like to take a lot of credit for it, but you know what? Being a fan and that I feel that him and Ryan definitely brought it to a whole nother level. Like everybody said, there's going to be drivers that are going to bring monster trucks to a whole nother level. And I think that Coty and Ryan are two of the guys that brought it up at that point in time, brought it to where it needed to go.
I was waiting for you there, Cheech.
So, also, we have another question from Michael Kettler. Talk about have you guys rode your scooters since the end of the season?
Can you repeat the question? It was a little bit staticky.
Oh. He said, have you guys rode your scooters since the end of the season? Michael
Man.
Keller.
You know what? We need to get our scooters because our trailer is still at Tom Mintz's place. It went from El Paso all the way to Paxton, and those guys prepped the trucks to go back out to Seattle, which never happened, obviously. So our trailer is yet to come back to Florida. We got a lot of stuff in that trailer that belongs to us, including those scooters. And them things are fun, man.
God,
I'm
dude.
glad we bought those things.
Yeah, man, that was probably the best buy that I think. I called Coty as soon as we found out about it. John Gordon's the one that hooked it all up. Big Matt and John and B-Bag and all them. They were like, dude, we're in Anaheim, and we're going to Temecula to go buy these scooters. And I'm like, what? Like, we're going down to Temecula, an hour and a half ride. And this was like at 9 o'clock at night. And they're like, you want to go? We're going to go buy scooters. I'm like, I guess, dude, let's go for a road trip. And I just happened to grab some money out. I'm like, how much are they? And they're like, they're $300 a piece. And they're like old refurbished like Lime and Bird scooters that this guy did. So I went and pulled $600 out, and I'm like, we'll see. We got down there, and these things were nasty. Like, they go like 22 miles an hour, and these big batteries on them, you can go like 28 miles with them. So I got on a scooter, and I really never rode them much. I almost killed myself out in the driveway of this guy's apartment deal. So I called Coty right away, and I'm like, hey, dude. And then I forgot that 9:30 out there in California, what time it is in Florida. So I'm blowing his phone up, and also he's like, hello. I'm like, hey, dude, what are you doing? He's like, you know what time it is? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to buy you a scooter. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to buy you a scooter. Okay.
Best investment ever, because if you ever did Arlington, Texas, Cowboys Stadium, it sucks where the rigs are parked all the way back to the track, and they proved themselves that weekend. They were well worth the $300.
So one question that I wanted to ask, and it kind of, brings me, Cheech, and you, Coty, kind of all together, is MTM2. I wanted to bring this up because that's when I first heard your name. I remember I was looking on the old MTM2.com, and I see this track by something named Coty. I'm just like, okay. I think it was like Mountain Stadium. And how did you get involved in the MTM2 world back in the early days?
Look at the virtual monster truck stuff. Even NASCAR. Look what NASCAR is doing with iRacing right now. But what Rigs and Rods is right now, back in the day, it started from MTM2, Monster Truck Madness 2. Man, I was all over that. I was always a gamer when I was growing up. I had Nintendo 64s and all that, PlayStations. I was a big baseball fan, so I always had the latest and greatest baseball games, and of course monster trucks. So I don't know, man. I got the game one day and never knew that they had downloadable add-ons and trucks and tracks and this and that, and then you could make your own tracks. I'm like, oh, it's on now. So we had legitimate Penda style series on Friday nights and stuff, and guys are drag racing their trucks that they build and stuff. So I don't know. I had to start somewhere, and that was it, I guess.
Man, a lot of people from now that's in the industry came from video gaming and stuff like that. But for me now, I'm in love with what's behind me, RC racing. And a friend of mine, I race with in St. Louis, Doug Walker. I guess he's moving to Tampa, and he has mentioned that he has talked to you about having a second Sugar King event in Florida.
Yeah, for sure. Doug and I have been in contact, as well as Bari and probably Jason and Fred over at J Concepts. We certainly do hope to get something up and going. I need some motivation to get my stuff out of the shed over there and get to wrenching on it. And I do a little bit of short course stuff and carpet racing, so it would be awesome, man, if we got some monster truck stuff lined up here in Florida, because there's plenty of guys that have trucks. Even Jeff himself said he'd get involved. So it's cool. It's something to do in the off season.
One question that we always try to ask our guests, and this comes from our good old friend Brandon Culpepper Sr. This is for both of you. What is your favorite kinds of pie?
Favorite games of what?
Favorite kinds of pie.
Pie.
Crawfish pie that my mama makes.
Ooh.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
I've never
yeah,
heard that
yeah,
one.
Yeah, that does.
Me either.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, you ain't getting none from my mama.
Yeah, you ain't getting none from Diva P. Because Cody and I are going to eat it all up. I'll promise you that. You ain't going to get none.
I got to drag the phone over so I can charge it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries. He also asked, what's your favorite flavor of Monster?
Oh, good one. I like the original and the pipeline punch and the mango.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to step up with mango loco, and then they come up with a new one. It's called Mule. That was the. It's kind of like a ginger, so it's kind of like a ginger ale and stuff. So it's really really good. Those are my two go-tos. If I just want to chill out, it's the mango loco. But if I need to turn it up and he's got the truck tore up and I need to get something done quick, definitely running on a Mule. And letting it ride.
Cheech.
Yeah, I was answering my bad.
Typical Cheech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Typical Cheech.
Get with it.
Come on, Cheech. Come on,
Go.
dude. Come on. Get with it, bro.
So you guys talking about Jeff. One question about you, Jeff. You guys also, actually, both of you guys actually off season. You guys do a lot of quad racing. Also, you guys still run the flat track series that you guys do, or I know you guys post pictures on Instagram and stuff like that. You guys take your guys' quads out and stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely, man. It's something that when Kelly and Coty got married, I rebuilt my dad's quad. I had it all redone and redone for them guys, and told Coty, I'm like, hey dude, we ain't got nothing going on. Let's go racing. Let's go quad racing. And he was all about it. And then we went to a couple of flat track races and TT races and down here and just kind of fell in love with it and stuff. And now when we're not running monster trucks and there's a race going, we are definitely going and slinging some dirt. It's kind of just a awesome time, kind of like family, man. It's the people are all fun, dude. We go out there and race and we bang bars. It's head-to-head racing, but when you come off the track, it's all friends laughing and joking and having a great time. So it's really nice to just be able to get away and unwind a little bit. It's one of our ways of doing that. I feel like that. Plus it's something, that helped out his skills. He got to ride quads a little bit doing the triple threat stuff, but then the year that 2 years ago when he was going to go do triple threat stuff more, I would just wanted to help him and work with him to try to get him better at running quads. And then and it ended up doing it. Him and Matt Coty. I'll tell you, man, if you guys could have saw some of the best races, even though it might have been up front with Brandon and all them guys up there, they're battling and stuff, but
Real races back
I'll
there.
tell you.
5th and 6th.
Yeah, the real races.
Matt Coty.
God, him and Matt Coty, dude.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, you want to talk about two dudes that battled it out and would goon out too, which was awesome because the fans would see that too. So you'd see these two guys, head to head, they talk smack, and they were probably the only two that really would talk smack, and kind of have a rivalry going in that. And it was cool because to watch Coty went from what he was riding quads to how him and Matt could ride together and make it almost like a quad wars, man. They could go into corners side by side. You think they're going to hit, and then they just go through the corner together, rubbing tires. It was pretty awesome to watch it.
So one thing I wanted to mention is when I was watching a video of you, Coty, in a hockey arena. All I'm gonna say is the 1-2 shift. Oh my god, the sound of that is just the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons for it, and the ultimate reason, and the God honest truth, the reason I do it is because we use the wrong converters in these trucks. The trucks are getting heavier and heavier. We got the wrong converter in it, so they don't get out of the hole like they used to back when we're still using high motor, high pinion Patrick chassis that weighed 10,000 pounds. Now we're upwards into 13,000 pounds. So you got to 1-2 shift them, one, because it's healthy for the transmission. And secondly, it just sounds badass. Dennis always commented he loved when I did it. So I think the credit goes to him. I always heard him do it. So whatever.
I'll tell you, the first time last year, where were we at? In Foxborough? When you beat Tom. It was a pretty crazy race. If you go on and watch Foxborough last year with Tom and Coty in the finals, and you heard Coty come off the line, and Tom's truck is way lighter than ours, and the gearing is all different. And back then he was running mechanical, and we were running fuel injection. So like I was saying, Dyke, smart man, very, very smart guy. So Josh had that truck rolling, and I did what I could with what we had. And Coty, it was all up to Coty that he had to make up the loss of power that we had. And he come down the first corner, he 1-2 shifted, and I heard him 1-2 shift. I was like, man, that was awesome. But Tom still had him, and then came down to the big end. Coty slung it in, Tom slung it in, and I heard him pull that thing down into first, and I heard it scream out, and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna blow it up, because I thought he forgot to shift, and it screamed out, and he shifted, and he drove by Tom, and Tom had him by about a wheel, but when they crossed the finish line, Coty had a whole truck length on him. It pulled the wheel speed of him 1-2 shift and pulled a whole truck length on him in that little short distance between the turn and the finish line.
We do have a question by Gabriel Lee, and he was asking, do y'all think monster trucks have hit its peak yet?
No. I saw a super interesting video this evening, actually. And I don't know how to pronounce the boy's name. I apologize. Austin Oganowski. It's a monster truck video. If you go on YouTube and search it, Fallen Heroes of Monster Trucks, the TNN era or something like that. I forget the title of it. It goes and shows the best. It highlights monster truck industry in its entirety in about 15 minutes worth of video. And it shows when it peaked the biggest, when the early 2000s, when NASCAR was going through its change and Monster Jam or Monster Trucks were trying to keep up with that. A lot of people saw it peak then. And then that 2003 season, it just crashed. And then when I think Feld purchased Monster Jam is when it started to pick back up again. So yes, we're in down and out right now, but not completely. It's bound to bounce back again and be totally different than it was before. So I don't think you'll ever see a peak. You're going to see a lot of ups and downs, but you don't never know when the peak might be.
I agree with him. I think this is gonna be a big change because everybody kind of got away from monster trucks. This is making everybody get away from everything. I mean, we're having to do nothing. And now when we come back, I think everybody's gonna be pumped up. It's not gonna be complacent anymore. People are gonna drive, want to go see this stuff. And I think that monster trucks is just I hate it. I hate to say it, but I think it was good for the industry. The whole thing. I think it was good to have this happen. And now when we come back, it's just going to start climbing even better and faster.
Another question here from Kelly Murphy Miguez. Darren wants to know if you miss him.
Yeah, I miss Darren. Man, I love Darren. Dude, we've got some wild times together, man. Don't let him tell you nothing because I can't even say. Love you, Darren.
The first time I met Darren, I've never seen a jug of Captain Morgan that big.
Yeah. Captain Miguez.
He said, what a cute couple.
Thank
Did
you.
say that.
Yeah, we try. You know, I mean, we're not as cute as you and Kelly, but you know.
Jealous. He might be just a little jealous.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Darren. I had him all first quarter, and he was a riot. Loved him. Every single time I walk by, I'm like, "Hi, Darren," and he goes, "Cheech," and just walks away. And then he goes around, and we're in a driver's meeting, and he talks to one of the event directors and says, "Before we start, let me get this before we go. Right when we exit the tunnel, we make a left. Yeah. So when I'm out of the area, I make another left. Yeah. I make another left facing the tunnel." And the guy's like, "Yeah." I make another left one more time, full complete, then I get out of the tunnel, right? He says, "Yeah. Bye." And he leaves. And he left the driver's meeting. He's like, "I know what the hell I'm doing. So why do I need to follow this driver's meeting?" And then he goes, and he always had one smart comment during the driver's meeting, and everyone just laughed about it. And Darren was a riot, and I love that guy to death.
Oh yeah, him and his brother Cam are some hard-working folks. They're blue collar as it gets.
We also have another person watching him, Mr. Matt Looker. How's it going, Matt? Had to give him a shout out.
Oh man. Hey, oh, God. Yeah, old Matt Looker. What's up? What's he got?
He was just saying what's up.
I think he's just watching.
Yeah, he's just watching. Hey, that was the guy that was beside me when I went to ask over tea kettle over the hockey dasher.
Oh look.
So
Yeah.
we got a question from Levi Schones. He asks, "What is the best drink to have on your 21st birthday?"
Ooh. There's no such thing as a bad drink. I turned 21 in Rome, Italy, of all places, and I think me and Twig were having sangria. So take it as you want.
I mean, you can't get away. You can't go wrong with a good shot of moonshine. So some 190 proof moonshine. That's what you need right there for your 21st birthday.
This is my choice. I just happen to have it handy. Some good old Canadian whiskey.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
Let's see.
Here we got some. We have Larry Hader. I scrapped his last name. Whatever. He said, compared to which one was a better Monster Energy body that you like driving, the pickup or the Escalade?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, and I don't ever mind answering it. As far as fixing it standpoint, the mechanic standpoint, the Escalade could take a rollover so much better than the pickup can. The pickup has so many, body supports hanging off of it that you lay it over and it gets wrecked. It's got a big hood on it, and the bumper, an unnecessary bumper. It always seemed like it got cracked a bunch, but I think the pickup truck looks better than the Cadillac, but the Cadillac takes the abuse better. So I hope I answered that as best I can.
We have a question here. Well, kind of a comment from Jason Twite, the man who broke Bigfoot. Question for the group: Who is to blame? Who is to blame?
Probably me.
That's all he says. Just who is to blame?
Jason? Who was that? Jason Twite?
Jason Twite, the man that broke Bigfoot 8.
Bigfoot 8. That's right. Who was riding along with him when that broke?
I'm not too sure, Jason. If you're still watching, comment.
Comment. Yeah, I want to know.
Another comment.
Who's the blame on breaking Bigfoot 8?
Another comment from my fellow Canadian Albertan, Mr. Jason Court. For the drink question, he said, "Canadian Shine, Cody, make a trip. We can build some shocks."
Yeah, Jason Court. Yeah, I've never met that guy, but he seems like a good guy, and he's got nice equipment. He's eager to learn, and he seems like he doesn't have any fear behind the truck. And I don't know, has he done any Monster Jam shows?
Not yet, but I have a story. So I ran Starting Line Tech Official at an event probably about 8 hours away from where I live in Grand Prairie. So I drove up there, and it was him versus Jared in crude behavior. So I bring him up to the line, point to where the green flag was, and just run like hell. I turn around, and I just see Jason just sky the truck as high as I've ever seen that thing, land nose down. They were up all damn night fixing that thing. I forget all they broke, but I looked over. I'm just like, okay, that didn't. Yeah.
Does he own both those trucks, Jason?
No, Jared owns them.
Okay.
Yeah, but great pieces of equipment. I've been around the trucks a few times.
Yeah, I think Josh built.
So Matt Looker just. Yeah. I'm sorry. I read this comment, and Matt Looker strikes again. He says, Jeff, I heard some news. You're getting replaced by Thomas Bennett next year.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna be we got a free agency here going. Yeah, I got Cody got me into a younger superstar. Good luck, Thomas. Hope you're the best. Hope you got enough fuel. Yeah, hope you got enough fuel, and you don't forget a fuel cap 2 times in a row.
Oh, whoa! Legend alert! Gene Patterson himself says, "Why is the two tough guys wearing Monster Energy hats?"
Cobra OG.
Here he says, "What? Why is the two guys wearing Monster Energy hats? The two tough guys."
Sounds like somebody's just jealous because he doesn't have one. Actually, yeah, he does have one. So
yeah, he does.
Stop complaining, dude. Always complaining about something.
And he's got a cruiser. He's got a
mutant and a monster.
Yeah, he's got a mutant and a monster cruiser.
We're just giving him props. Now he's jealous about our hats.
But do you have a Colt Cobra mask?
I don't have the Colt Cobra mask. I asked to use it my first year competing in St. Louis, but apparently it got shipped to the wrong hotel or in the wrong name, and I never got it. But he does have it back again, and everything's good there. The mask is not MIA.
That's one dude Colt, that is a legend.
The OG. Yes, sir.
That's another guy you guys were talking about that would speak to you, Jeff, to help Cody out with racing and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, man, that was awesome, dude, to have him. I mean, just to have him there, and I hadn't known him very well. I've met him a few times. Then when he came and like Cody introduced me, and we sat down and got to go have dinner and talk and stuff and hang out. Like we bonded like instantly, and it was pretty cool. We'd throw little things on Cody when he'd be doing autographs or something. Gene would take a couple of his old Snakebite truck, one of him and Bigfoot, I think it was, and then one of him and Snakebite, and we tape them in the truck, just in little spots that Cody, he'd be sitting in the truck, just sitting there, and all of a sudden he'd just like sit back and look, and all of a sudden there would be Gene looking down at him, and it was pretty sweet, we just messed with him like that. But Gene, just because Cody's got so much respect for him, it was pretty cool, to be standing there with him and playing jokes on Cody and all that. It's definitely an awesome bond.
I was gonna let you
that
go.
Was great. Okay, no problem. Some Chris Wyman was asking about Jeff, your snowmobile racing career.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot, dude. That was a long time ago. Definitely, we'll get more into that. I used to race snowmobiles back when I was a kid, man. But like we talked about, Cheech, we'll do a thing when I come on. When you wanted to have me on, so we'll touch more on that, dude. All the quad war days and all that stuff. But yeah, I had a lot of fun years racing snowmobiles and met a lot of awesome people doing it. And sometimes I miss it, but I don't miss the cold, man. I can't help it no more. I'm southern now, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, you just got wussified.
All right. Well, sorry. Yeah. Well, sorry, Chris, but You gotta listen to the solo episode with Jeff if you want to know about his wonderful snowmobile racing career. So and other stuff too. So he'll be on another episode, and we'll learn more about Jeff and everything he has done. There was another one. Michael Brister keeps on telling you why you guys drilling over Colt Probra. Chris Copperhead is where it's at.
Chris Copperhead.
You
Are
broke
kidding me?
Chris Copperhead.
He said, why you kept talking about Colt Cobra when Chris Copperhead is where it's at?
I got no comment there. I'll let Gene comment in the comment section.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's coming from Brister though. I mean, so it's all good.
Another question that I saw, where was it here? From Nathan Smith again. What is the best / funniest moment from this first quarter that you guys had so far?
The best? Not too many good ones came because behind the scenes, Jeff and I personally, we've had a lot of bad luck this past first quarter. There's some things probably can't talk about, but it seemed like nothing kept going our way for us except those first 3 or 4 weeks with the points. Everything else was just, we'd load up and we got our rental car broken into, and I got sat out. I hit the wall twice, and it was a mess. So the good things that happened, oh man, I don't know.
Well, one thing though, the first weekend, we when St. Jude stepped on board, St. Jude came on board with Monster Jam and all that. We were the first ones to win the event overall and get the event overall championship trophy.
It's the only trophy this year that has St. Jude on it.
And it's the only trophy that has St. Jude on it. So that was kind of a really awesome thing, because my family, my uncles have had cancer. My mom has had cancer. I've known some young kids and that have had it, and all the kids that we've met in the VIP stuff that have came and that it kind of was pretty awesome to be able to win that. And it was, for me personally, my trailer was on display at all the pit parties, and I lined the trophies up, and that was one of the trophies that I put up in the front. And it was one that I was very, very proud to have and proud to be able to talk about. And that was kind of one of the highlights for me, was that. I have to say that winning that, man, that was something that was pretty awesome and it was pretty heartfelt to me.
Sharing steak and potatoes with Tom Mintz at Cattleman's Steakhouse in El Paso, Texas, and talking about mud racing days. That's pretty cool.
I'd love to hear those stories. I think this question is from our buddy Josh Rhodes, which I think he posted on our account. He says, "What has been your RC of choice to mess with while on quarantine?"
Oh, to be totally honest with you, how do I word this? I've got a ton of RC trucks, but I never get to drive them. I'm always screwing around with them, working on them. And my wife and I, we purchased a house a couple months ago. So we haven't been in here all that long. So I'm actually in the process of building a workshop for all my junk and tools and RC stuff. And so, man, if I could pull the trigger on one, it would probably be the 2-wheel drive Stampede, because you can't kill that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have
or
to
the
say
Slash. I always love
that.
driving the Slash around.
Yeah, but what's that one that I wanted to buy? That desert truck, the big one.
Oh, the UDR, the Traxxas.
Yeah,
I'd love that one of those.
Man, I was looking at it and I almost pulled the pin on it a couple of times, and then Cody would be like, we'll find something. And I never ever pulled the pin, which is all right. I got so many of them too. I'm like him, and I never get to play with them. I'm always playing with my quads or doing something else that I definitely need to get into it a little bit more, and especially if they end up having a series down here, that I want to get into it and build some trucks.
Yeah, for me right now, what I've been doing during quarantine is driving one of those primal 5th scale Raminator RC gas powered trucks. Those things are huge, but they're fun. I got 5 of them.
Oh my God. Delta, does anybody have a clutch on it? Because I know they were pretty almost kind of lazy, weren't they, with the clutch they had in them?
At the start, when you drive at the start, they don't have the get up, but when they get up to speed, they're fast. They go and but throttle
They look
response
very
wise
steady.
is pretty good because if you get them in a good position to get a slap wheelie, you hit the trigger and it'll carry it down the road. We have a gravel mound of dirt. It's supposed to be gravel to spread around, but I've been using it. It's like I picture it as one of those old FMX landing ramps back in the day. You know, the straight line straight line course with the FMX. I just launch it on top of that. It soaks it in. But I have to send you a picture. They're all lined up at the shop. They're just waiting to go let people drive them at the fairs and stuff like that. So, and the bosses don't care. They're like, go have at it because I have to be the one that's to fix it. So, I got all the parts to do it. So, I'll just drive them around until further notice. But they're fun suckers. They're really fun. But I got another question from Alex. Alex Parrish. He said, in all your years, I guess this is kind of for both of you guys. In all your years, what's the most rookie mistake, a driver or not, you've experienced or witnessed?
So I can be anybody. It doesn't have to be myself. No.
That you have seen.
We're going to limit it to just us because we don't have enough time in this episode to talk about everybody else's mistakes. Man, I've had them. I rolled over in a freestyle in Portland, Oregon, after only making one hit. I think hitting the wall is a rookie mistake. I've done that twice this year. Rookie mistake is backing into the trailer into the wall. That's terrible, man. That's no excuse for that, but it does happen. What you got?
Man, trying to think, man. Well, I don't know. I put the corner together. I've done that a couple of times now, putting the corner back together in a hurry and forget to bend the tabs on the planetary, and it ends up spinning the nut off. This year I forgot to put the sun gear in, put it all back together, slapped everything back together, turned it, not even thinking I turned it up, filled it full of oil and everything. And I sat there and I looked down to go clean the pan up, and there the sun gear was sitting on the ground. So I had to go drain the whole entire thing out, take everything back out. Other than that, man, back in the, like Coty said, backing in the trailer. I was with Fitchett, and we were backing in the trailer, and didn't drop Baku down enough. We both knew it, and just we were in a hurry. It was late at night. We were tired, and backed it in, and ended up knocking one of the cross members. Thankfully, all it did is pop the rivets on it, but knocked the cross members loose. And then right away, I'm mad at myself. So then I'm mad at everybody. And but yeah, the big thing is just backing the trailer and just not paying attention, and that is pretty much the biggest rookie mistakes, is just getting complacent.
Not clearing the motor out 9.5 times at $5,000 at the start of a race. That's everybody needs to do that.
Another question from Kyle Shreves. He asks, do you own any fiberglass? If so, which is your favorite piece you own?
Yeah, I've got several pieces of fiberglass. I've got all my Cadillac hoods that I ran. So the original Monster Energy hood that was my body, I guess you could say. I only went through 3 bodies the first year I had it. So I have all 3 of those hoods. The Young Guns win. And then I have, the last year Porter ran the Carolina Crusher trophy truck looking body thing that shared the Captain American body. I've got the door side off it, and it says Carolina Crusher in its entirety. But aside from fiberglass, the one that's piece that comes off a truck I'm most proud of, Gene actually gave me the Dune flag, the orange flag off of Bigfoot 2. That's in that infamous video from Silver Lake when they first put the blower motor in 2 with the chrome aluminum wheels, and it goes up the sand dune there, and it's got the flag whip on the front bumper, and it says Midwest 4-wheel drive. I actually have that hanging up in the shop, and that ain't going nowhere.
That's sick.
Speaking about Gene, He was asking a question here. I just saw it about. I just missed. Oh, there we go. Tube wise, which do you guys prefer, in house or CRD, etc.?
They're towards the end there. When we were still doing our own chassis, they were pretty much identical. Very few tubes were out of place, but at first, when Dan and Paul come up with that design, it was super mechanic friendly. There was so much room in the cradle, so much room around the motor, so much room in the cab for the driver. And then, of course, as things went on, we had to make changes to the roll cages and, of course, the rest of the chassis to be strong. Now, man, the CRD chassis that we're putting together, everything's tight, but yet it is a super strong chassis, also very heavy. So with safety comes, more tubing, but then comes more weight. So I really think the monster truck industry owes it to itself to almost come up with something totally innovative, almost like to what Kirk Dabney tried with the Extreme Overkill truck. I think somebody needs to do something like that again. And I don't know who that might be, whether it be Dan Patrick or even Pablo or somebody. Eric Meager, I know, was working with us, and he was working on some projects that he would share with me every now and then. But there needs to be the next step of monster trucks. Even look at Disharoon's new truck. That thing is certainly different than the rest of the pack. But there could be some things different on it yet. But I think his is kind of the latest and greatest thing that's out there right now. And some things on it currently you're going to see more and more often from here on out.
I'm definitely impressed with his new truck. I've seen him when he jumped and cased it on top of that.
Yeah, Ryan sometimes, man, he makes me question his driving ability, but not taking anything from him. He's not afraid to send it off anything. And a couple times this year, I'm like, man, this thing's gonna break in half for what he's getting ready to do. And I've seen him land smack down on top of the backflip container and turn around, go the other way, and make another mistake. Take it, go back the other way, make another mistake. Knock the log out of the 8-pack. Keep on going the other direction. It's like, man, how's that chassis taking it? But him and his father and their whole shop there, they got it going on, and I think there's some notes to be taken from those guys.
Yeah, definitely.
So another one that we always like to ask our guests, and this relates to an episode with the Norman brothers, Philip and Christian. And this is an important question, okay? Are you on Team Eggnog or do you hate eggnog?
What? Do you like eggnog or do you not like eggnog? Are you kidding me? Eggnog all the way, bro.
I thought that was like code for something else.
No.
Eggnog, yeah, I like eggnog.
Well, Mark, 2 more down for the Norman brothers.
Yeah,
I
hate it.
Brad? I don't know if you sound
No, it's just it came from an episode because Cheech and them used to live together, and it's just it's one thing that we always have to ask it. It's an ongoing joke.
I hate eggnog.
What's the tally? What's the
Hate the
tally
taste of
against
eggnog.
eggnog? Hey, let me hear this. What's the tally against eggnog and not eggnog?
Oh my goodness, it has to be more
right
for
now.
eggnog. I want to say.
So eggnog's smoking it. Right?
Well, I have it on my piece of paper here. No, I have it on my piece of paper right here. Right now, it's eggnog by 2.
Oh, yeah.
It was tied before
dude.
Jeff and Cody did it.
Hey, a miss or a mile, bro. A miss or a mile, dude. We're still ahead. Eggnog for the win.
Oh, I need to find people that don't. I'm gonna ask my guests next. Do you like eggnog or not? And I'll pick up people that don't like it, and then we'll get back in the flow of things. So I'll cheat.
Oh, boy.
So
to do it, but it is what it is.
You know who you
What?
remind me of doing that, right? That reminds me of Randy Dinkins'
No.
Quad Wars days. If he couldn't win, then he's always going to pull out some cheat move to be able to win something.
I guess if I'm not cheating, I guess I'm not trying. So, is that the saying goes? It is what it is. We got one from Josh. If you can line up a race against a driver from any era in monster trucks history, aside from Mr. Gene Patterson, who would they be and why? I think Andy Brass.
I would probably say Gary Porter in any of his era, any of his prime. He's just a well-respected guy in the industry, and he was always, always had good-looking equipment. And, I'm talking about Gary Porter in Carolina Crusher. Yes, I respect when he drove digger truck for Dennis, but when he was in the Crusher truck, man, that would be really cool to line up against him. And almost had the chance to, but it never happened. I did drive his truck when Feld owned it. I did some testing in it, and I thought that was the best front and rear steering truck I've ever driven, and I don't know why that was.
We got another question.
He always said about a story about Gary Porter and liking his liking when the truck loped. I remember hearing stories about C47? I think his truck was C47, I think. No, C74. Sorry, my bad. C74, and they always talked about how the truck loped. Like it almost wanted to stall, but Gary liked the truck to lope like that.
Yeah, that low idle, yeah.
He's just playing.
We can't get them in low. They won't run.
Yeah, that was the thing. Nobody liked driving Cody's truck whenever they take it when we had mechanical on it because he was the same way. He loved when that thing would lope, and it would lope so down that it would almost kill. And I'm like, you want me to turn high lope? He's like, or I'd turn it up just a little bit, and Cody'd be like, what's wrong with the idle? I said, nothing. So I'd turn it back down. But now we can't. With the EFI, you have to have them turned up. You got to have them turned up to about 17 to 1900, 2000. Otherwise, they don't like it at all. So I turn it down every once in a while, and they just don't like it very much. So, yeah, here's another one right here, the old loper.
It's almost
better though.
It's almost like like a kid touching like the thermostat. The dad knows automatically, like, hey, you touched my thermostat. You turn it down. You turn the idle up a little bit. And Cody's like, what'd you do?
Oh, dude, that's exactly the same. And there's a few things that I'll try, and I'll be like, hey, let's try this. And then he won't say no. Cody won't say no because he's always wanting about trying something, but you can tell that he's apprehensive. So I might tweak it a little bit. And I'm like, hey, how was that? He's like, I don't know. The truck felt a little different. I'm like, yeah? How do you like it? It felt good. It just was different. I'm like, okay, well, he didn't say no, so maybe we'll just keep tweaking from there. But yeah, definitely got to have the lope in it. That just sounds like a monster truck then.
Yeah. Let's see here. Any other questions that we got? We got one from Chris Wyman. His question is: does air pressure in the tires and gas in the shocks differ between races?
I'm a big because of my 4-wheeler racing stuff. I'm always wanting to try that. And I'll watch the dirt and stuff, and Cody and I will talk, and we will adjust air pressure for tracks. I know a lot of teams won't do it, and they're like, oh, it's just a race. And that's what a lot of guys, so a lot of the guys are just like, oh, it is. We'll just go with it. Where me, I want him to go undefeated. So I want him to be the fastest that he can be. I want to, like I said before, I want him, when people line up against us, I want to be like, oh man, up against these guys again. And we definitely try to adjust on the air pressures. Shocks, we move it. We don't do too much with shock pressure.
Don't change the pressures, really.
Pressures and the shocks, we don't really do a lot. We do. We have done ride height. Now this year we were running a different ride height, and then this year we went to, because the tracks were going to be so fast, and we weren't going to. The trucks weren't going to be more stable, I guess you want to call it. The arenas, they weren't. We wanted more that the truck would soak stuff up. So we did drop some air pressure, or drop the ride height. So that's about the only thing we'll do is we'll drop some ride height and stuff. The biggest thing is like in Vegas, like on that kind of course, I'll set the truck up completely different between racing and freestyle and even tracks. When we practice one night, I'll look at the track and see what it's going to do. And Cody and I'll talk. And that's one nice thing about Cody crewing so long, that all of his knowledge, and then mine, we come with a package, and we kind of can dial a truck in right there and by the racing part of it. And that's one thing that goes by that Coty has. You know, we've been pretty much the top 5 fastest truck every time that we've gone to Las Vegas. We've been at least the top 5, if not the top 3 fastest truck every year. We won top qualifier the one year. The following year, well, he was on a pass that he was going to be the top qualifier and smoke everybody. And then we just had a little steering issue. He had a steering issue where he had to back out of it and let the truck come back and go. And he still ended up 5th, and he completely let out of the throttle and got back in. So that goes to show, you know. And then this year in All-Stars, you know, he was the fastest truck. They put him out first to go out and practice the track because he is the fast. You know, he's one of the fastest guys in Vegas.
Neil Elliott goes, "Real damn, you don't have to make your fastest pass your practice pass."
Yeah. Yeah. Neil makes that comment, and then Coty goes, and as he starts going, he starts going faster and faster and faster and faster. So it's one of the things that we set the trucks up different where a lot of teams won't, but we take the time and we definitely set the trucks up because we want to win. One thing for us, one thing for Monster Energy, but the main thing is for all of Coty's fans and all the Monster Jam fans, you know, we want to go out there and put on the best show we can, and we want to be on top.
So I got one last question out of this group here from Aaron Frederick. He was saying, what retro body and name from the 80s or 90s would you like to run on your chassis if you had a chance?
You got to kind of narrow it down because there really weren't all that many trucks. For some reason, and I don't know why this is, but my most memorable anything about the monster truck industry growing up as a kid was Jesse Berge's the teal and pink lettering playing for keeps. For some reason, that always sticks out in my mind. So I don't know, maybe extended cab, long bed S10 or something like that, playing for keeps, rattle can on the side of it. I don't know. It just sticks out in my mind for some odd reason.
I thought maybe you teach Casper. I thought maybe Casper.
Casper? No, Dale Harris. He was from what, Mississippi somewhere, not too far from home.
See, I like the S10 comment because I have an affinity to those little trucks. I've owned 2 of them. I love those things to death. So if I ever had the chance, got the money to build a truck or anything, it'd have to be an S10 body, the square body S10, not the later model, but the square body.
Of course. That's exactly what Berge had, was the square body S10 extended cab. Yep.
Those things are the best looking trucks ever. But anything else, Cheech?
Right now for me, no, I'm all out of questions here.
Yes.
Actually, to be honest with you, I was probably all out of questions like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, it's all good. Thanks to all the people here, and you know, most of my questions were actually on my top of my head would be probably asked for Jeff and his other ones. So had to kind of go back on a couple others, but you know, it was still a great time, and all these people. Thank you for all these people that was on and giving shout outs and seeing some. I wish Mike Wine was on. That'd be cool. But I think my last question is we don't really get a lot of chances to ask this, but you guys have any favorite funny rental car stories that you guys have? I know you guys be on the road a lot, and I know before you flew back and forth, you were riding with Jeff. So you guys have to have one good story before we get off tonight.
There's several good stories, but if you got to narrow it down to one, okay, let's narrow it down to one that's you and I together.
One
hood jump.
Yeah, I mean the hood jump was
good, or
the hood jump. Well, the night we went to the airport, and then we all rode with our shirts off. The hood jump was probably the best.
The hood jump was probably the best. So we were, I don't know where we were, but it was in the hoods.
What did Blake?
Tulsa.
Was it Tulsa?
Tulsa. I think it was Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We had everybody, they'd always get the minivans, the Dodge Caravans, and they're freaking nasty, man. They got super badass V6s in them. And I think I was driving.
Yep.
It was me, Jeff, Wes, Morgan, a couple of us in there. B Rabbit, Bobby Baggett, I think, was in there. Fitchett.
Yeah. It was all
The van was loaded. So it was already on the bump stops as it was. And we're going through this hood area, ghetto. It's all get out. And we ran across this railroad track. I'm like, man, that didn't feel nice. And I look over at Jeff and I was like, let's make the block and go back over this thing again, flat-footed. And so, well, we did. And pretty sure everybody hated me. They still hate me from that day on. And that was back in 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wes was in the right behind me, and he ended up in the back of the van. Morgan was in the back and ended up looking between the two seats at Coty and I. I'm like, what are you doing? And that was pretty awesome because
horrible. We had audience outside.
Yeah, we had
store. They were freaking out.
Yeah,
Sparks flying.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. That if you were there, it was one of the things that all you gotta say is hood jump, and everybody's like, "Oh man, I remember that." God.
We got our rental car stuck out at Glamis when we first got to Glamis for the Doonies video. We took this little SUV thing we had. I didn't have a car. He and I had to share a car. And Damon was adamant about going out there at night just for a night cruise. And within 5 minutes, we didn't air down the tires or nothing, of course, because we're from the East Coast. We don't know how to do that kind of thing. And we got stuck. We got stuck for almost 2 hours trying to get this thing out. And it was dark. We didn't have anything to work with. And finally, we got it out. Damon's boy was with us, actually, and he was freaking out. There's another story for you.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. Awesome stories. We're probably going to have to do it again, get some more rental car stories and, BS about some more 90s stuff. Anything else you want to say, Cheech?
What kind of social media you guys can follow? I know, Coty, you probably mentioned it on your first episode we had in December. By the way, people, if you want to go hear that, it's in our podcast platform. It was, I think, our Christmas special when we had Coty on our channel. So if you guys want to go back and listen to that, go right ahead. But any new social media for you, Coty? I know, Jeff, you have some. So if you guys want to build them out, go right ahead.
Yeah, for sure. My first and last name, Coty. And I'm most frequent probably on Instagram just because it's so user friendly and I got the most followers there and it looks good. And Facebook is always there too. So I don't do the Twitter thing. I have an account, but I apologize if anybody out there tries to contact me there. I always forget about it. So look us up, send me a message. I always like seeing pictures and videos from not only myself, but man, I'm an old school gearhead. Anything drag car, motocross, dirt bike, four-wheeler drag cars, monster trucks, hit me up.
Me, I'm horrible. I'm horrible at the social media stuff. I got Jeff Sin on Instagram and on Facebook, but I kind of leave that all to him, and I just turn wrenches and make the truck go fast.
So as always, we want to give huge thanks.
Yeah, buddy.
We always want to give huge thanks to High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, Nick Davis and Back Channel Productions, 6B Apparel, and Marty Garza's upcoming book. You can follow myself on. I want to check that book out. You guys can also follow me on Instagram and everything. I'm at the Monster Truck Conductor. And what about yourself, Cheech?
I'm Dan Agosh 10. Instagram, it's Dan Cheech Agosh. Before we go, you said you have that book. You want to give it, talk about just a little bit about it, and try to maybe get people to get the book.
Yeah, when Marty was first working on that book, when we were on tour together, what was it, 2017? We were on tour together.
Yeah.
Marty, he was telling me about the book, and kind of blew it off, whatever. I know Scott Douglas was working on a book at one time about Dennis, and I don't know whatever happened to that, but I knew Marty was working on a book about the industry. And out of nowhere, finally he finished it. and it is far more in depth than I ever thought he had going on this whole time. So if you get a chance to check it out, spend the extra coin and get the hard copy because it looks way better. And it's as thick as the old Yellow Pages, man. If you ever had a Yellow Pages growing up, I'm sure Jeff, Minneapolis had a big Yellow Pages. New Orleans had a big one there too. So I don't know, man. It's several hundred pages, and it's all immaculate photos. I know Scott Bryant's got a lot of photos in there, and a lot of the teams over the years sent in pictures to him to incorporate in the book. Tina Huffaker shared some cool stuff. I know she's got some pictures in there. So it goes from the start to finish, from where trucks started to what it is today, the engineering behind it all. And Marty is a crazy engineer himself, and also apparently a great author. So I highly encourage you to check out the book.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us on, man. This was rad. Thank you so much.
No worries,
you,
guys.
definitely.
And again, like I said, thank you. Stay tuned to our social media pages, guys. We're going to be announcing our next guest for next Tuesday. Remember, every single Tuesday, 7:15. We're posting different time zones, but we'll be announcing our next guest soon. And as we always say for Crush This, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.